Here goes nothing. I have spent, well, first let me start off by saying my name is Michael, 35 years old, live in the United States, more specifically in the state of Kansas. Um, Recently laid off from a company I was working with for about 11 years, give or take. Um, I don't know, just a normal dude, really. Has been terrified of getting on a microphone, getting behind a camera, doubting himself most of most of the years I've been alive, and to be quite frank, still plenty of that self doubt lingering around, which is why I'm just now getting around to recording anything and putting myself out there. But I'd like to give a shout out to one of my best friends in the world, Joe Solis. He's been there pep talking me and gassing me up and whatever else you want to call it, telling me to give it a shot, get out of my own way, and to post something um, online, whether that's TikTok, YouTube, whatever. I really don't care. I'm pretty introverted overall. Although if I get to know you and I gain trust with you, I can talk and talk and talk your ear off about a million different things. Got ADD like crazy, so this brain's skipping constantly from subject to subject. So depending on if and when this turns out to be something that's worthwhile and worth documenting, just kind of my thoughts. I don't really have a lane that I hope to travel. I hope to travel many lanes because that's what represents me the most authentically is all of the nuance and small things that go into making Michael who he is. Uh, Same person that did not want to accept who he was or who he is for the vast majority of his life, not just adult years, childhood years. The more I've been through therapy, I've been through Gamblers Anonymous. I've been in couples therapy. I've had times in my life where I didn't understand other perspective aside from my own. I'm at a point now where I understand every perspective is truly unique and try to go into every conversation and every interaction with that perspective in my own brain. Um, I've always considered myself to be open minded, and it's ironic how close minded you can be while truly believing that at times in my life. I've been much more in touch with the spiritual side of my life again over the last year and a half, couple years, and still plenty of growth to go there. But boy, has it been remarkably different for me personally, just getting back in touch with God. It really started with my brother making mention to my mom that he would like to go back to church. Um, so by the grace of God, I really, really am appreciative that anyone in our family had that conviction and that wherewithal within themselves that that's something that they felt strongly about. And it got me back there. And man, I've been a work in progress ever since. And I have a feeling that won't be ending anytime soon. Just, I know it's the right path for me. And it feels good to be aligned with that again and be in conversation with my God, the one and only true God, in my opinion. I am a Christian man. I've done some very unchristian things in my years that I'm not necessarily proud of, but at this point I've learned a lot of lessons for. Lessons that have been profoundly impactful on me personally throughout my journey. Um, it's incredible. It's just incredible the difference it's made in my personal day-to-day life. Humbled, humbled like I've never been humbled before. As a man that's, quite frankly, to this day, I will believe at my core I don't have the biggest ego of all men, and I never will or would have at any point in my life. But boy, even someone like myself, the ego can get ahead of itself and it can grow tremendously. Slowly but surely, to the point where you look in the mirror and don't even realize the man you're looking at anymore. And that's tough. That's really tough. And as emotional of a man as I am, and as difficult as the journey can be, to look back on what's transpired throughout my own life, my own existence, the reactionary, impulsive, knee jerk responses that I presented throughout the vast majority of my years. Quite frankly, it disgusts me, myself, and I still have times where no one's here except me, my dog Zelda, who has been instrumental in me being here today in general. Outbursts that I'm not proud of, just much better, but also a long way to go, and reminders of just ways to not behave as a man, ways I don't want to carry myself as a man. I think about if and when I'm blessed enough to have a child of my own, behaving in that manner in front of them and remembering things I saw growing up. We all saw things growing up. Each story on that front is so different and nuanced, and I got respect for everyone and where they came from, because it makes a lot of impact whether we're aware of it in the moment or not. In our adult years, it profoundly affects how we move day to day, how we move year to year, what types of relationships we form, and what types of individuals we build those relationships with. A lot of mine predicated on a cookie cutter slot that I happen to fall within at an early point in time, where clicks and all that meant the world of difference for a lot of kids. I believe, at the early teenage years, rolling into the early 20s, even for me, how important acceptance, being accepted, feeling accepted really were, and how they were such a driving force in how I've handled my business as a quote unquote man many years of my life. I'm thankful I could apologize to a few individuals at least that, maybe they didn't lose a wink of sleep over it throughout the years, but I didn't feel right at my core how I handled it. But I've been able to make amends with both them and myself for it, and forgiving yourself, that's a whole nother monster, and it's not easy. Not easy if you're being real with yourself and you're being real with what you know you're capable of and what you represent at your core. You strip away all the facades, and you strip away all the things that are tangible, that we flex against one another, that we hold as these idols and valuable things that mean everything to us, and we live our lives predicated on those things instead of the one the one thing that really matters, and that's first and foremost the Lord and Savior, in my opinion, but also just presence. We get so lost in the future and the past, and we're never present. There's so many distractions, so many things to steer you off the course of what can make you feel whole inside. And I felt a whole lot of nothing for most of my years because I chased those things that everyone else chased within those circles that were predefined, as mentioned, only to feel emptier and emptier and grasping and grasping and grasping more and more for something I didn't know I needed. I don't know. There's been a lot on my mind lately. I've been isolated more than ever. I've had time to just sit and thought, my own thought, away from the noise, and just realizing that noise, good, bad, and different, can be even family members, those around you that have your best interest in mind at the end of the day. Either way, I've made choices and decisions predicated on others far too often. And by others, I mean literally anyone aside from myself, within myself. So having this isolated time, I truly believe in my heart of hearts was God's profound plan for Michael. And the stripping of those things slowly but surely was important, but only if I took the time to understand it and not get lost in the moment to moment things. Because boy, I look back on it now, and instead of as one-off things that had me honestly pissed in the moment or crumbling or unable to control whatever emotions I was feeling in the moment, in retrospect, his plan is perfect. It's strategic. It's incredibly out of my perception of what I could perceive with my human mind. The lessons instilled in the journey, the path that leads to humbleness, to remove my masks. And, I get so overwhelmed anymore when I speak on religion and I speak on spirituality, because as a man who can speak a lot of words at times, I lose words to demonstrate the profound, unfathomable nature that the Lord's presence makes me feel and perceive when I know He's there and I know I'm present to feel it and experience it. And it gives me goosebumps. I'm getting a lot of goosebumps when I can stay in that headspace. And for someone that feels like just 2 years ago he lost it all, it didn't really want to even exist anymore, it's incredible how lucky I feel today, jobless, in a whole different situation than I found myself a couple of years back, and can just feel so much more alive than I had for years. And I struggle with where society is and where it has moved. And over the years, I've struggled with it because we are a corporate society, and that's what moves the needle for a lot of folks. A lot of everything, really. Anything that happens is based on a dollar. I've never been a man that's been highly driven by a dollar. Quite frankly, I haven't. I find so much value in so many things, but the only reason I found value in money, the two reasons I've ever personally found value in money are livelihood, because we all have to live. We all have to pay for the things that are important to survive. and then also tangible things to fit in and be accepted. I gave up a lot of tangible things that I personally enjoyed because of what I felt would be social impact. Today, you can see on my back wall, I got a Pikachu hat up top there. I've got my dogs that I mentioned and a Regal outfit. I have a Zelda clock made from a record and a Charizard light. I'm a nerd at my core, and this is who I am. And it's like, I'm good with that now. I'm at peace with that. Society's tough with where we're at and with that corporate world and how important it is. But there's just still part of my inner being that refuses to give into it fully. That's why I sit here jobless. That's why I'm on camera right now while I'm terrified. And will I post this? I don't know. I don't know if I will. If I do, I more than likely won't watch it through myself again because I don't like watching myself on camera and I never have. And I never care to be comfortable on camera. I like to be me and I don't need a camera to do that. But if I can impact others in any way, just with what I have to offer from my own perspective, maybe I don't offer much to many people, maybe I do. But if I can impact a few people with what I've been through personally in life, then it's worth it. And it feels selfish to withhold it on others' behalf, if nothing else. So if this gets posted, thank you for taking time to listen to me and my early works of whatever this may or may not end up being here. This was my humble little office area, and by the grace of God, I owned a house or co-owned a house a couple years ago. I'm living in, renting a house from my brother, who has, boy, has he just made me prouder than ever these last few years. Just his own journey, and that's a whole nother thing for no whole nother day. But by the grace of God, he's got a place I can rent from him at a really good rate. And you guys get to see what I'm working with. And I don't know. I'm just feeling grateful, feeling optimistic. Um, got a lot of work to do. Try my best not to cry on camera every freaking video for you guys because I can get within my own feelings and relive things and feel things strongly as if I were there again. So I ask you to be patient with me as I kind of work through this. If I continue this, and yeah, any feedback helps. Any feedback always helps. But yeah, again, my name is Michael. Thank you all.